So, okay, so there's some more people that join, I think. So as you come in, it will be great if you can just write. There's like a chat. You can see it at the bottom with like 3 dots. So you can type where are you joining us from and your name also. And then, okay, so for those who don't know, this event is hosted by Jumping to Freedom. Is a community mainly for women expats who are looking to go abroad or who are already abroad, especially here in Europe. So we do organize monthly events, some of them in person, but not right now, of course, because we can't. So now we are running these coffee talks online and online workshops as well. And we also share resources and tools to give support and connection to our members and mentoring programs to help you find a position abroad. So I will leave the social media handles here in our chat, and I will just wait like a few seconds for you to follow us and join our Facebook group if you would like to. Well, I would like to be in touch with all of you, so if you can just join there. I know some of you are already members, but for those who are not, it will be great to have you on board. We also have an upcoming event. It's gonna be next Friday, and it will be a workshop on how to redesign your space with an interior design. So what a best time now that we spend like a lot of time at home to kind of like learn more about like a space, and also because the space you live in plays like a huge role in your mental health. And we are now realizing more than ever. So I'm just gonna leave also the link here for those of you who could be interested. And so basically the agenda will be, first we are gonna have in kind of like coffee chat with Kat. And then we will have, well, she will be sharing her experience abroad. Second, during this whole like questions, if you have any like questions as well that you want to ask Kat, you can just type them in the chat and we will reply at the end. And then on the third part of it, the last few minutes, like the last 10 minutes, we will split you all into groups, and then you can chat a little bit with one another about any experience abroad. If you have, let's say, cancel any plans that you had for like traveling or moving because of this coronavirus. So I think it is a great opportunity for you to connect, because now we cannot do it that much in person. But if we split into groups, you can just chat a little bit more like closer to one another and share your experience. So I am gonna do like a screenshot. So you have to look like you're having the best time ever and you're gonna smile. And then I will keep it for just as a group photo, basically. So if you can just do like a hands up, let's say, for those of you who doesn't have the video and want to like do it, you can just put it now, and then it's just like a screenshot, and then I will take it out. So 1, 2, and 3, yay. Okay, perfect, thank you. Yeah, so let's welcome Kat. I am so happy to have you here today, and for you to share a bit about your experience and also your time, sharing with us your tips. So would you like to share basically a bit about your journey until today, and who is Kat?
Sure. Well, hi, I'm Kat. I am originally from the US, but I haven't lived there in over 7 years now. I've been bouncing around a lot. For the past 2 years, Vietnam has been my home. First Saigon, and now I'm on the coast in Da Nang, if you've ever been. But my journey first really started when I was 18. I took a semester off between university and high school, and my parents kind of shipped me off to Guatemala. I didn't want to go. I wasn't really into it. But long story short, those 3 months were the most transformative months I could have ever asked for. I went back home, I finished university, but I knew the moment I graduated, I wanted to move abroad, and I did a month later. So I started off in Ecuador. I lived there for a couple years, and then I stayed in Latin America for a few more years. And then I worked and lived in Europe for a bit, and now I've been in Asia the past 3 years now.
Cool. So what would you say you have gained from all of this experience living abroad?
Well, a lot of really fun and interesting experiences, but on a deeper level, patience. I've learned, like, I've developed a really big patience when dealing with other people, especially people that are not from my same culture or don't speak my same language. And I've also gained a lot of patience with myself. You know, living abroad is a constant learning experience, but you really need to have patience with yourself to be able to kind of internalize and learn and grow from those experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's totally true, because you have to kind of like adapt somehow, and it takes time. It's not like you just like
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
It's not instantly, that's for sure. So you have been a teacher, tour guide, yacht stewardess, and volunteer in 4 different continents. So if you can share with us a bit about your professional background and your variety of job experience that you have.
Big variety. So I went to university and I studied international affairs and Latin American and Caribbean studies. It is a mouthful, I know. And I really haven't used that at all. I will be completely honest. The perk of having a degree, if any of you guys are kind of debating on going to school or anything, the perk of having a degree is that it makes getting a visa in a foreign country so much easier, even if it's not in that field. Just having a degree is usually a prerequisite. But I first went abroad with the Peace Corps, which is like a US program, and I taught English there. And then I worked in some hotels in the Amazon and another on an island in Panama. And then I became a tour guide in the Caribbean, like the Panamanian Caribbean coast. And then I got bored of that, and so I went to Europe, and I became a yacht stew. And I had met a boy before that, and I realized I missed him. So I stopped the yacht stew thing so we could meet back up. And then I needed money again, shocking. And so I got a job in Korea as a teacher because I had a couple years of experience. And then a year in Korea, we got ready for a change and we moved to Vietnam. And then now I work completely online. I run my business, Girls Gone Working, and I teach English online a few nights a week just to kind of do something.
Great, cool. Wow. That's
Sorry, if I need to slow down, I can. It's just a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's okay to be multi-passionate. It's fine. So I study tourism and hospitality, and I realized it was something that I didn't like. But also I was an au pair. I also work in an airline. I don't know. I work as an administrative as well as reception. I don't know, like working with kids as well in Berlin. So, well, I didn't like kids, and I moved there and I work with kids. So honestly, no sense. Why do you do that? Like, it's just because it was easier to get like a project abroad. And then this is like an advice that I always give to everyone. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be, I don't know, like a kindergarten teacher forever if it's something that you don't like. It's just like a way for you to jump abroad and then decide, because otherwise you cannot find like all the opportunities online. I mean, there's like a huge variety, but still we have like this traditional way of like having someone in person for like interviews. So
Yeah.
if you're planning to move abroad, a great advice will be just take a project that somehow it will be great for you at the beginning, and then you can transition to something else that you are more passionate about, basically.
I 100% agree with you, Laura. I also think once you get abroad, your network grows a bit. Like all of my jobs were kind of like intertwined with this network of people, even though they weren't at all connected. You know, I heard about one because I was somewhere meeting someone who did something, and it just, yeah, your web grows once you just take that step.
Yeah. So basically, you have like find all these jobs from like connections, or do you have any other like advice for people finding jobs? That is as well from connections. If you have any other idea or platform or anything you would like to share.
Well, I personally have found most of mine via connections. I mean, I was doing it also 7 years ago when I started. I mean, I didn't even have an Instagram at that time, you know. So a lot of stuff was happening more in person, I suppose. But that is my passion, is helping women find jobs abroad. Girls Gone Working is all about that. I've worked really hard to build a community there. It's mainly based on jobs abroad, but there's also some lifestyle guides in certain cities if you're interested more place first job. But there's over 40 different job articles written. They're all written by women currently or within the past year working in the job they write about. And there's everything from working with Apple in Ireland at their HQ, like how to get hired there, to being an au pair in Paris, to teaching English in Thailand. There's jobs for all over. And so I think if you're looking for a job, I might be able to help you.
So both of our platforms have like some similarities, but I think it will be great that they can also see all the articles that you have, because it's from experience from like real people. And I think it will be beneficial for anyone who is like planning to move abroad, but they don't have like an idea about what kind of jobs they can do. So I think the platform in that sense is like really great. So, and don't forget, if there's someone who would like to leave any questions, you can just type it in the chat as we go. So also, the name of today's coffee talk actually was inspired by your course. So you have a course that is called Is Moving Abroad Right for You? So can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot goes into a move, especially an international move. And I obviously love moving abroad. I mean, I keep doing it, but I don't think it's the right decision for everyone at any given point of their life. So, but the course goes into a lot more than just like simple, yes, it's right for you, no, it's not. It's designed to get you to ask yourself 10 big questions based around your comfort level in different scenarios. So it'll help you decide where in the world you should move, what job suits you, and ultimately if you're ready to move abroad.
Awesome, perfect. So what would you say are the abilities that someone who is an expat should have, or someone who is aspiring to move abroad?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different and everyone's situation is different, but I think the one like overlying quality would be that someone needs to have like the willingness to learn from their host country. Like you need to be open-minded in the fact that other countries and cultures will most likely value other things than you're used to, and you need to be okay with that. And you also, I mean, I think that you should also not just be okay with it, but willing to learn from it. And with all of that, patience and understanding will come, and just being willing to embrace the differences and learn instead of thinking the locals will bend to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so when I moved in Germany, I guess I didn't do the right research, but I was like, why do they, I don't know, they were like some weird things for me, kind of like they didn't have like a public health, let's say. So everything was with insurance, but then you kind of like earn so much for them to you be able to afford that in kind of like inside of your like salary.
Yeah.
Also, they were like a taxes if you have like a dog, because you are meant to take dogs to the park, and then they were charging you taxes extra if you have like a dog and you needed to take the dog to the park. And I don't know, and also for the traffic light, it was like when it was in yellow, you couldn't pass. And for us, at least here in Spain, it's like you run when it's like in yellow, like when it's like green or yellow, to just run. And then over there, if it's like yellow, they put you like a fine, but a really like big one. I don't know if it's like 100 euros or something. And even with the bicycle, like you cannot pass with a yellow light, like say in Berlin. So I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I guess you just adapt, like what is normal for you in other countries might not be normal, and that was in Europe. So I guess if you travel somewhere that is not your continent, you have to be like open-minded and have this kind of like, let's see what happened attitude, to kind of like, let's say, this is not going to be similar to what I have lived, and it's not because it's right or wrong, it's just because it's different. And it's normal to have kind of like an adaptation period until you finally feel like you are at home somehow. So yeah.
I think if you are excited about those differences, like some are like weird clashes, but if you're excited about them and you go in with the mindset of like all these differences are going to be fun and I can't wait to learn the differences, you're going to accept them differently. Like here, our neighbor just tore down his house and is building a new one, and there's no concept of like, this is how you do not safe construction. This is like the time of the day you do construction. Like, no, there's no concept of that here. It is just whenever they want to jackhammer something, they can jackhammer something. And that might not be the most fun, and yeah, I wake up a lot earlier now, but that's how it is. You know, you don't gain anything from complaining and saying, oh, but in Europe or in America they would never, like that. You need to get that mindset out of your head, because you'll be so much happier abroad the moment you just kind of drop that and you're willing to just go with the flow.
Yeah, totally. So what piece of advice will you give to someone who is planning to relocate, but is facing some like doubts or fears, which are normal but hard to deal with?
Yeah. I kind of think you have two options. One, you just say screw it and you go for it, you rip the band-aid off, buy the one-way ticket and hope for the best. Or if you really are, nervous for it, I would recommend planning an extended trip, but not a trip to like a resort. Instead, plan a trip to a country that you would like to move to and book accommodations similar to what you can afford to live in. And I think Airbnb and trusted house sitters are really good options for that. And also, don't do super touristy things all day. Go and eat at restaurants you could afford to eat at if you live there. Walk around the neighborhood, go to coffee shops, and that'll really give you a feel for what daily life is like in that place. And then, then it might give you the confidence to, go for it if you need a stepping stone.
Yeah, I think also it's great to ask people who have been there before. This is why nowadays we have this kind of like easier connections with people who are abroad. And I think that's also a great opportunity when you have these Facebook groups or any other expat groups, to ask people who are there about, especially like the neighbors in the neighborhoods, like if they are safe enough for you to move or not, all that kind of questions. Nowadays we are lucky enough to have these kind of like communities to ask people and give and receive the feedback from them to decide if that's best for you. But yeah, I agree. I think when you move abroad, I personally, I just like, when I make the decision, I just try to run as soon as possible, because otherwise I feel like I'm gonna be like regretting. And I don't think that much. This is why, let's say I went to Berlin and then I was with kids when I didn't like them, because I was just like, I'm gonna make it somehow, and then I will figure it out like along the way if it's something that I really like or not, until like I fully adapt to like this new city and country. So basically, I will say you are never gonna be 100% sure. That's life. You are always will have doubts, but I think it's best to jump and then see what happens instead of like being on the other side of like the river and having your voice, like a little voice in your head telling you all the time, like you should go here and you should do that, and then you will never do it. So otherwise, you might have like a bigger regret than if you actually do it and then just jump and then figure it out, because you will always have help. There's always people who are willing to help you, and you will be not the first one doing that. There's like people who are already in your position, that were in your position maybe months ago, so they can easily help you out, I think. So do you have a recommendation for someone who would like to kind of follow your path of like 7 years living abroad?
I was actually going to say something very similar to what you just said. Like, if you want to do it and do it now. If you don't know where to begin, like I said, my website has a bunch of stuff, and Laura's website also does. Between the two of us, you know, it'll give you a lot of options on jobs and lifestyles and things. But I also would say, don't be hard on yourself. I've moved almost every year for the past 7 years and have done countless other jobs. Like, nothing in this lifestyle has to be permanent. And to me, that's the fun part. The fun part is getting to constantly try different languages, cultures, cuisines, like whatever you want, as often as you want. So if you're nervous and you don't know if Berlin's the right move, but you can get a job in Berlin, go for it. And then after a couple months or a year, you don't like it anymore, well, see where that takes you. You know, don't think of it as a permanent thing. Think of it as a, why not find out?
Yeah, totally. So the only thing is that there's people who actually minding the situation, like leaving stuff behind to actually make that jump. But as I said, I think you can always go back home. Home is gonna be there forever, and then your experiences abroad are not gonna be there forever, because when you are like, maybe you are really, well, you never have like an age, but maybe when you get older, you start to settle, and then you don't want to maybe have these experiences anymore. So it will be a time when you are gonna regret, I think, if you haven't made it. So as I said, you can always go back. Like, your parents or your family, your friends are gonna be there, and most likely when you go back home, you will, like, everybody will want to know like your experiences, and then also you will notice that not that much have changed. So you are not missing that much. Most likely you are the one who have changed, because you have all these like experiences that you keep like in your, let's say, like backpack, and then you have like everything in there, and then you grow personally. But most likely things are not going to change that much in a few years once you kind of like return. So I think we are going to reply the questions that we have here. So Milena is asking what age you were when you start traveling.
So I was lucky enough to travel a little bit with my family, like growing up, but nothing too big. But when I was 18, I went on my first solo trip to Guatemala. I was there for 3 months, and then I came back home and studied. And then I studied abroad. And then after graduation, what was I, 22, is when I moved. 20, I don't know how, yeah, 22 is when I fully.
Yeah. Okay. So I also moved abroad the first time when I was 22, and when I finished university. But so I moved when I was 17 from my parents' house, and I was telling them the whole time, they are not really travelers, and they don't really like to go to places. They really get like nervous, especially my father, when he's like on a plane. So I felt like I was like the black sheep in my family, but in my entire whole family, because it was nobody telling me that they wanted to go abroad. And I was like, but people, why don't you travel and see other places? And I was feeling so like weird, because I was the only one, and they were telling me, oh, you are an adventurer. And I was like, I just traveled like once on my own, and then I am like an adventurer. So it was so funny. But I guess you just need to do what makes you happy, and that's it. Otherwise, you cannot follow like someone else's path just because, I don't know, that's just the normal thing in your area. Like, I remember once that one friend told me, like, I wanted to travel, but now my friend, he's like making excuses because he, like, we booked the flight together, but now he's saying that he doesn't have like more money. And I said to him, like, why don't you go on your own? And he was like, oh, I never thought about it. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, are you gonna stay in a hostel and you're gonna meet so many people? So why don't you go on your own? And he was like, maybe I will do it. And then he started to go on his own. And now he's traveling everywhere on his own, because he said it's just easier to just like make a plan, and then you don't need to be like telling to everyone to join with you. And it's the same applies for like going abroad. When I moved to London, it was so many people that they kind of like came in pairs, like with another friend, to move abroad. And this is something like, if you just want to go, you don't need anyone to go with you. I mean, it's like easier, but then if that person in 2 months doesn't want to be there anymore, what are you gonna do? Like, you're depending on someone who maybe is not their path, it's your own one. So anyway, so let me see if I'm not missing. Okay, so Amani was saying, how you can deal with new language that you don't know. I mean, how you can communicate without knowing the language of the country that you want to volunteer or just stay for 2 years. Good question.
Yeah. So the first place I moved abroad was Ecuador, and I'd already spent time in Guatemala and Argentina, so I had basic knowledge of Spanish. But where I lived in Ecuador, I was the only person that spoke English. Like, I was there to teach English teachers English. They did not know anything. So that was kind of a do or die situation. I'm thankful for it, and I worked really hard. I still speak Spanish like an American speaking Spanish. Sorry, Laura. But I can have a full conversation. My husband's actually Colombian, and we speak Spanglish all the time. But now, like in Vietnam, for example, and when I lived in Korea, I work really hard to get basics down. I'm not anywhere near I got with Spanish, and I honestly didn't really have the drive like Korea. We knew we were just staying for a year. You can learn the basics, and that goes a long, long way. Know how to order at a restaurant, know how to ask directions, know the numbers if you want to shop at a market so you can know prices. And that, I think, is easier to learn once you're in country, or, if you know where you want to be, practice on Duolingo, but it'll come more. Make some local friends, and just don't be shy. You cannot be shy, and you're going to sound like an idiot, and it's going to be funny, and you laugh and they laugh and everyone's laughing, and it's okay, and you'll get.
Yeah. So I also, when I moved to Germany, I was not an expert in German, that's for sure. And that was actually the reason why I moved there, because I wanted to improve my German skills. So even though I learned German at the university, I was not like kind of like fluent at all. And so most of the conversation, I was missing like half of the stuff that they were saying. And my advice on this will be also not to be with expats the whole time. If you can mix yourself together with locals, that's great. It could be complicated at first because locals are not like, well, I mean, they have their own friends, or maybe they communicate and it's easier for them to speak in their own language. But like I said, I could have choose between like being in a flat, like a rented flat with another expats, or be in a rented flat with a local, and I choose a local German girl. So it's up to you. You can be somewhere and then never learn the language because you just like be the whole time with another expat and then talking in English, let's say. Otherwise, you can try to push yourself a little bit more, because I think in this occasion is your time to also improve these language skills if that's one of your goals, I would say. So Anissa is asking, can I ask your age and for how many years are you traveling?
Yeah, I am. I will be 30 in like a couple months. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Every year has been getting better, so I'm okay. I've been living abroad consecutively for over 7 years now.
I'm 30, and I was the 18th of April. I had my birthday, like lockdown birthday. So I think you will have the same one, like just at home, like blowing like candles and like
Happy birthday,
a Skype call. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Josefina is asking the same. So she's gonna be, how old are you? She's gonna be 30. So, do you still keep in contact with the people you have met from different locations? Pamela is asking.
Yeah. So I lived in Ecuador for a while. So I made some really great connections. I don't keep in contact with everyone. I would be lying if I said I did. But those people that I really forged a bond with, yes. And also social media makes it so much easier now. It really does. You can be Facebook friends and you think about them and you send a quick message, and that's kind of pretty simple. A lot of my best friends, though, sorry, Laura, they've been expats that I've met in other in other countries.
Mine too, honestly. But
Yeah, all of them. Like I got married almost 2 years ago in Colombia, and our wedding was quite small, but it was a mix of mine and my husband's friends that we had kind of met from all over. It was like just a big mix of people from all over the world that we've met and have just really made great bonds with. So yeah, the important ones I do.
me too. So my best friend is also from Slovakia, and she's living in London. And she was gonna get married last month with an Algerian. Well, her Algerian boyfriend. So imagine that kind of like wedding. So it's like a Muslim wedding, kind of like mixture with some like a Slovakian girl, which is like really blonde and with the green eyes, and then everyone there is like dark hair. And well, it was actually a separate wedding. So women are on one side and then men are on the other side. But I don't know. I couldn't go because they needed to cancel it because of this coronavirus. But yeah, so I guess when you have like many friends, it's kind of like international environment that you will have always. And that's the kind of like enriching part, I would say, like having this kind of like friends from everywhere. So Josefina is also asking, do you think sometimes that on future your family, parents will meet you and you are far away from them? Well, that's a deep one, hard one.
So I'm lucky. I do have quite young, healthy parents. And I also have a brother who lives really close to them. But my parents were the ones that pushed me abroad when I was 18, and I like to remind them of that every chance I get. Say, for me, I didn't choose this, you chose this. It's always been a joke that I would outgrow it, or like it would be a phase. I'd live abroad for a little bit and be like, that was great, and I'd come home. So I know they're not thrilled, and it definitely is something that's in my head a little bit. But I'll be honest, I was raised by parents that, pushed me out of the house as soon as I was 18. They don't want us coming back home to live. We are really close knit, but they want us to be as independent as possible and make decisions for ourselves. Never once have they said move back home to me, ever. They're happy for me to come and visit for a little bit, and they're like, okay, go live your life. And we meet up. We try to meet up in Christmas. They like to travel, so we do like destination places. Either they'll come to where I am and we'll meet somewhere in the middle. It's a little harder now because I think they always thought I would end up in the States, but now that I'm married to a Colombian, like his family wants us to end up in Colombia. My family wants us to end up in America, and neither one of us want to be really in either. Like, he doesn't want to go back home and I don't want to go back home, so here we are in Asia. But it's a good excuse, for the other families to blame each other. But
Yeah. So, well, me personally, I didn't have that much of support from my parents to go abroad. They were kind of like, okay, you do what you want to do. yeah, so my advice will be just tell them all what we have been talking now. If you are abroad and, or if you want to move abroad and then you don't have the support from your parents, well, I will say it's hard. So you just need to follow your path, and then also tell them that you're gonna be as secure or as safe as you are now in your current like place. Also, you can find that safeness in where you're planning to move to. So at least if you give them this kind of like experience, that you're not gonna be the only one there who is like making this jump of like relocation. You can tell them all about that. And regarding your parents, I will say if they need you, most likely you're gonna be for them, because you can take a plane and then go. So if something big happens, I will basically just jump and then go back home and then stay with them until everything goes back to normal. You can tell that at work, and maybe they can give you like this kind of like short period of time when you maybe don't get paid, but you are also like, you don't finish the contract, let's say. So if they need you, I always have that at the back of my mind. I also have like healthy parents, but I will say if anything happens to them, I will just go there as soon as they need me. So
Nowhere is too far away. Like, I live on literally opposite sides of the world now. I couldn't be farther, and I can get home in a day, you know? So, and you can do the same. I also think with parents, maybe I'm just really lucky. They see how happy I am. You know, when we do meet up and I'm talking about places, or I'm, you know, on a video call with them while I'm walking my dog in the street, they see it and they know it. And maybe it's a bummer that I'm not that happy at home and they wish I had that happiness back at home. But at the end of the day, I mean, they want me to be happy. And yeah.
so Josephina is saying, great, I can say the same for me. They want us to be independent, and we are, but then they do all their best to make us feel guilty. Well, I think it's hard, because just imagine that you have just be in their situation. Like for them, it's just easier if you are just next to them, because they can see it and they don't need to worry it. So of course they want you to be next to you, but that's not the reason. So maybe that's why they make you feel a bit guilty. But I think they will be also proud of you for doing that. So yeah, so I think that's the last one. So I think we can move to the part, like the last 15 minutes, because I want it to be like a whole hour. So the last 15 minutes, we kind of split into groups, and then you can talk
Sorry,
about.
Laura, sorry.
Yeah,
Before we, can I share the link to my
yeah,
course?
yes, of course. So you can just.
Just so you guys know, the course is on Skillshare. And if you've never made a Skillshare account, you can use the link I'm going to send, and you'll get 2 free months, not only for my course, but any course on Skillshare. And there's all sorts of stuff on Skillshare. So I recommend checking it out, especially now you have some more time, you know, at home. But if you're on the fence about moving abroad and you don't know where you want to live or what job you want to do, or even if it's the right decision for you right in this, like in your current state, the course should really help you out.
So you can type the your links in the chat, so it doesn't get. Okay. Perfect.
And if you lose this link, you can type in "is moving abroad right for you" on Skillshare, and you will see it.
Perfect. Thank you. So I am gonna split you now. If you want to stay, Kat, or would you like to leave?
Yeah, I can stay. I thought it was. I'm ready. I'm here.
Great. So let me see. It's the first time I'm doing like this section groups. So it says 3 sessions and then 4 participants per session. So I will like leave you to go there to the like all the groups, and then we can come back and then we can split it again. So you kind of like you can mix together with one another. So
Join.